Okay. I am with such a special human being in my life. This person has taken me from this side of the river to that side of the river without like any kind of knowing of what's going on in my world. I have an extraordinary, special, raw and real TLC guest. She has been with me. So now my son is 24, got that divorce legally in 2007, but 2006 was the beginning of our relationship. This is Diane Rose. And Diane, I just want to thank you so much for being here. I never expected that many years ago, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but you had said to me, I was considering getting a divorce because there was so much emotional shame and pain that I'd shoved down. And I went to have a session with you for shiatsu massage, which my friend brought me to. And as a Reiki practitioner, I know that when somebody's open, the more open they are, the more they're ready to receive. And I believe that's what happened with me and you because you said to me, Bernadette, you're here to break the chain. And I thought at that time it was only to break the chain, meaning the having a divorce, because as a Catholic, I was not allowed to get divorced, and I was looking for that permission. And you had said that my grandfather was there with me, who was like my now ex-husband, and he was to guide me. And that breaking of the chain, Diane, also took me to breaking generational trauma. That
Yes,
so the like
that's it. So
thank
that
you.
you don't bring it to your children, your
There we go.
grandchildren, and
Yes.
so on and so on and so on. And
Yes.
I call it looking in the mirror.
Ooh, tell me more
Man in
about
the
that,
mirror,
Diane.
woman in the mirror. If you look in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and healing is not easy. You
No.
really have to soul search. You really have to look at,
Yes.
you have to be honest with yourself. Where
Yes.
where am I lacking? Where are my gifts? Where are
Yeah.
my faults? And believe me, all God's children have faults. That's why we're
Yes.
here. We're either teaching or we're learning from other individuals. That's the beauty of life. Again, I always say it's the journey, not that destination. How much we learn as we're
Yes.
going through that journey to
Yeah.
get to that destination is incredible. If we're willing to keep the peripheral, the eyes wide open, not wide closed, and we're willing to go with it and have the keyword faith, hope.
That's so
All
true. So
right.
there's so like you're saying you brought up faith, you brought it looking in the mirror, and everything in between. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. But for somebody who's just starting out, Diane, could you like talk a little bit more about that? Like for you, like for where you're at, because you're talking about you're either learning or you're a teacher. So to be where you're at, you've had to go through a lot of learning yourself, I am so sure,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yes. So do you feel comfortable sharing some of that and how you got to where you're at, where you're able to now like just guide, like I said, for me for over what? That was like 2006. So what almost 20 years.
20
Happy
years.
anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody always asks me a question. When did you know you had the gift?
Okay.
I turn around and I say, you mean the curse? And
Mm,
they look at me
yeah.
and they say, how could you even say that?
Yep.
And I turned around, well, how is it if you walk down a street and you see a 2-year-old and you know they're not going to live that long?
Yeah.
Is that a gift?
Right.
No. All right.
Yep.
When I realized that I had something different,
Mm-hmm.
because we're all different.
Yes.
God bless. We have all different frequencies. God bless
Yes.
the rainbow. All right.
Yes.
Um, I was 9 years old. My mother
Mm,
and father went through a divorce. People go through divorces, all right? But 1 month after that divorce, I lost one brother.
mm,
Then I lost another brother.
mm.
Then I lost a sister. Then I lost my grandparents, my mother's only brother.
Mm.
And then I lost my father. My mother had remarried. She had two other kids with that marriage. All
Mm.
right. I lost all these people between the age of 9 and 18. And believe me, I looked up at the big guy in the sky. All right. And I
Yeah.
said, what did I do that
Yes.
at 9 years old, I'm going through all this trauma? All
And I
right.
did, just when you just said that, just can you, just for 1 second, I want to put a pin in this. Like you just mentioned, what did I do to deserve that, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting how, like, you're 9 and you're in school, so there's teachers around and like there's adults around you. But as a little 9-year old, to be having that feeling of like, what did I do to deserve this? That is huge. Like,
Yeah.
where do you go to share that information with someone? That's a profound grief. It's not just one, or it's like there's many deaths, and that's just the death part. We didn't even talk about the other kinds of losses that occurred, right? The divorce
Uh,
and so much more.
yes. It, it's also that I'm going to backpedal at this point. When I
Sure.
was in kindergarten, first grade,
Yeah.
I went to parochial school. And when I was in parochial school, they called my mom because
Mm-hmm.
I kept pushing away from a child that was sitting next to me.
Mm,
And they were going, "Is there something wrong with her?" And my
mm,
mother goes, "No, not that we know." And of
right.
course, she would take me to a physician. Well, later on, they found out that that little boy's father was an alcoholic and he was putting
Mm,
cigarette butts out on his back. And
oh,
I was feeling empathy, the
yeah.
pain of what he went through. Then we can
Mm,
go right into when I was 9. That was my first introduction. Not even, it didn't even sink in. It
right.
sunk in when I
Yeah.
was 9 because when my brother, I was out with my little brother at the time, and we're talking about the death at this point. Two police officers walked by me, and I went into what is known like a twilight. And I looked at my little brother and I went, "Billy just drowned." And he was 7 years old. He had no idea, and he was playing with kids.
Yeah.
When the police officers left, I went upstairs, and my mother was sobbing at a kitchen table. And I
Mm,
looked at her, and she goes, "Billy just drowned."
wow.
And I
Wow.
turned around and I said, "Mommy, don't worry." I said, "He's fine," because I saw him there. All
Yeah.
right. And she, a grieving mother, she jumped on me and just said, "He's dead." Dead, I understood.
Right.
Drowned, I did not. And I went in and I had
Mm,
communion with him. I talked with him. All
mm,
right, that's my
mm.
word for talking is communion.
That's
And then
beautiful.
realized, I realized at that point, well, I'm seeing things other people are not.
Right.
Then in the interim from 9 to 18 with all these passings, I had a dream. And I don't dream. When I dream, it comes true. I
Mm,
was in a dream and I walked up to my family home. All right. And this man opened the door, gorgeous man, big blue, stunning. All
yeah.
right. He opened the door. He goes, "Diane, come in." We went up the stairs. We had 4 big bedrooms there. "All of this can be yours, all the money you would want." The other room was all the beauty that you would ever want. Another room, fame,
Wow.
everything you would want in all these rooms. We had one of those drawstrings that you would pull down walking up to the attic.
Mm,
And I looked up at it, and the string was like swinging. All right. And I pulled it down. The most gorgeous golden white light like you've never seen, with
mm,
gold in it, with
mm,
lavender in it, hit me
mm,
in the face. And he goes, "All of this can be yours."
mm,
And I put my foot on the first step. And as I looked up, it hit me right on my face. And I said, "No, I'm going there." As I turned to look at this gentleman, he turned into the devil.
mm.
Again, I was like 10 years old at this point. I knew the direction
Wow.
I was going, and then we can add on. Now, of course, that's a lot of trauma when you're
Yes,
losing all of these people. All right.
absolutely.
But I look as a plumber would have tools in his tool chest.
Mm, mm,
They're
mm,
all tools. Because
mm,
if someone
mm.
walks into my healing room,
Yeah.
all right, if I see one brother, all right, then I say, "Okay, this person had someone who drowned." If I see
Mm,
another brother, my brother committed suicide. Then I turn
mm,
around and I say, "All right, there's suicide." They're like little
mm,
tools in my tool
mm.
chest, and they come
Wow.
right through, and like guides, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
feeding me information about the
Yes.
individual and what they are going through at
Wow.
that time. All right.
Diane, that's like incredible. And just like just to how you're saying, you're looking at it as like as a tool. And that's so I see you take, like you're saying, learning and teaching, learning and teaching. So you were learning, and then now the teaching part, just to shift for a minute, you've had like the feelings that came up around all of this. What were the feelings that came up? And for anyone who's listening, what would you suggest for them if this has happened to them, or in terms of whether it's been multiple deaths, whether it's been, going into a twilight, or maybe there's a child that they have that they're suspecting that there's something here.
I I would say go to someone, myself, I'm not promoting me, but
I'm promoting you.
anyone that has anyone that has gone through this,
Yeah.
because they can help you, they can guide you. It's like a recovering alcoholic. All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
The best person to go to is a recovered alcoholic because
Hmm.
they can call you out,
Yes.
the good and the bad of it all. They can guide
Absolutely.
you, they can teach you, they can educate you.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
always say go to
Yes.
somebody who is a professional who has felt it,
Yes.
has walked it, not through a book.
Thank you. And I think that's huge in that too, because I remember about, when I was trying to find my way, I was learning a lot. And I would read every single self-help book, every single self-help book there could be to try to, and that all, they're great. I'm not disparaging authors or people who've written
Right,
books. There's pieces in that, but that's one part of the whole puzzle. You can, and this is what we say with the grief recovery work that I do, especially invisible. Okay, I call it the
right.
invisible and the hidden grief that we're all carrying, right? But what do we do with those feelings around it? And what we say is, okay, let's just say it's trauma for yourself. You've had all these deaths. We're going to talk just about the deaths for a second. You have all these deaths. Where do you go with the?
Bernadette, that's one segment.
That's one segment. Okay.
Mm-mm. And
Yes.
because after that, PSED, you go through that. All right.
Yes.
So in my 20s, I had panic, anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
And then I had, because of everything that was coming up and out of me. All right. So again, because I went through that, if
Yes.
someone walks into my room, I'm going to look at them. You're depressed.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
anxiety.
Yes.
You are a panic because I'm an empath. All right. So I feel it. And then the person feel, how do you know this? And
Right.
then it opens up that they're
Yeah.
open to me, I'm open to them. And
Yes.
the key is safe.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Safety is, yes, and that's it. The safety, 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 safety. Any container that I have, whether it's a presentation that I do, or whether it's one on one, or if it's a group, the number one thing is safety. And just you said it, right? Okay, I can read a book to you. That's not going to
Yeah.
be helpful. But if I'm coming from a place of my emotional truth, whether it's death, divorce, and bankruptcy, or it's like, hey, when that fire happened in my house and it took me 13 years to get that for me and my kids, and I just literally wanted to die by suicide. I didn't have a plan, but
Yeah.
I wanted to. I get that. I get why that
Do you know
happens.
what fire is really important, by the way.
Mm.
Fire clears out toxins.
Oh, it did. Oh, it so
All right.
did. And I
And
think,
then water flushes, it
mm,
cleanses. So each element has a
yes,
real strong effect on what's going on in your life and what you're supposed to do. I'm very aware of numbers, as you know,
yes,
114,
yes.
and I'm very aware of what's around me, especially birthdays, time of
Mm,
birth,
mm.
because it's really specialized to the individual. Everything is.
So can you say, okay, so you just brought up another thing too. I feel from being with you and hearing you and learning from you is that you are so in tune and aware. Okay. And remember this, meaning that I feel like a lot of our society is like, just fix me, fix me, fix me, like self help me, fix, let me read it, just tell me what I got to do and I'll be done. It's like, whoa, 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 stop. You first have to be aware of you,
It exists. If
right?
you're not aware it exists, how do you change it?
Correct,
You
right?
cannot.
And
Woman in
so
the mirror, man in the mirror.
that's it. So tell me, let's, can we go back to that for a second? Tell me more what you mean by that. when you say that? Woman in the mirror, man in the mirror.
Well, you have to see yourself for the truth that you are, what you're carrying, what you're bringing to the table. You can't disguise it to self. You
Yeah.
can disguise it to a friend. You can disguise it to mommy,
Mm.
daddy, sister,
Mm.
brother, child. You cannot. You can't lie to yourself.
Yes.
You know, we all come in with the beauty and we all
Mm-hmm.
have our impurities. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
we're here. We're to
Yes.
work through it to get to the other side, which is nirvana, which is pure peace. If
Mm.
you're standing in God's, look at Moses. When he went up and he
Uh-huh.
saw God, the bush,
Yes.
the burning
Yes.
bush,
Yes.
he fell to, he couldn't even look at him
Mm.
because Moses thought he was that impure.
Wow.
Oh, all
Wow.
right.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then he started to work on, and the more and more he worked on self and
Mm-hmm.
became aligned with God the Father, the spiritual, the pure, the more and more he
Mm-hmm.
could look at God. All right.
Mm.
Looking in the
Mm.
mirror, you got to look at yourself. You got to be honest.
I see. I think that's the piece to the honest part. So I'm gonna use myself as an example for everybody. Okay, I did self-help groups. I ran women's circles. I became a Reiki practitioner. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Okay, everyone's like, Bernadette, you're so strong. You'll get through this. Boom, another lesson. Bernadette, you're so positive. You'll get through this. Boom, boom, boom. I
Yeah.
thought that I was doing my work. And I did. It helped. And I went through these different things. Like I'm hearing you, same thing with you. You went through anxiety, depression. You know, I
Yep.
got diagnosed with ADHD. Whatever. All these different things. They say elemental P. I don't care what it is. What I do care about is exactly what you're saying. Are you saying to the world, I'm fine, with a fake smile? Because then you're not living in your truth. And if you want
Truth.
to do that, that's your choice. That is where free will lives. But if you're saying here, I want to be over here, but you're still not looking in the mirror,
You're not there.
you're not there yet. And that's you. You as I the way I sign a thing. When we see each other at the most perfect time, because the people that show up are the people that are ready to do that. It's work. It's good work, but it's work.
It is work for sure. And believe me, sometimes it could take one word and the
Yes.
person shifts. And
Yes.
sometimes it could take, and I don't like people married to me. I want them
Hmm.
up and running. All
Yes.
right. It could take a year. It could take 2 years. All right. It
Yes.
all depends on how badly they've buried who and
Yes.
what they are, and they do not want to look at it. And
Yes.
remember, the
Yes.
cells of your body has memory of
Mm.
everything you've gone through
Mm.
since the moment of conception to the point right now. You
Mm.
know your name, you know where you live, you know your social security number. If you did not have memory, someone would have to bop you on the head every morning. Your name is Bernadette. You are such and such age,
Yes.
but you know all of this. Even
Yes.
doctors know it. They call it remission.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
All
Mm.
right.
Mm. Yes. Yes.
Even
Yes.
somebody could come into my office and I said, you had anemia. Oh, I was 12. Well, it's in the cells of your body. It can
Yes.
reproduce it at any point. All
Yes.
right. Now,
Wow.
your soul has memory of every past life you've gone through.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
And that doesn't mean that you're changing constantly your personality.
Yeah.
It just reincarnate. It's one life to another life. It's a progression.
Mm. Okay.
All right. So death gets in there, death gets a bad rap. It gets in there, and
Yes.
then we come back in because we have to do paybacks. You know,
Mm.
if
Mm.
you were a narcissist to a lot of people, you're coming back in this lifetime and you're pulling in narcissists to feel the
Yeah.
pain you gave to others.
Mm.
Your
Mm.
soul has memory. You could walk into a party and you could turn around and say, oh, I'd really like to get to know that person. I love that's because your soul had a past incarnation with them.
Mm.
Or, whoa, I don't want to get to know that. I'm removing myself. That's because
Mm.
you had a bad incarnation. A lot of times,
Mm.
even a body worker or healer, I could be working on somebody and they have a residual pain in their back constantly.
Yeah.
And I put my hand on it. They could have been stabbed in a past life.
Mm.
All
Yes.
right. I've had people that Jack the Ripper has
Mm.
killed in my office, and I've had people, unfortunately, with the Holocaust.
Yeah.
All right. One woman came in to me, and I turned around. I said, "Do you know that it was soon to be her ex-husband? He's the one who pushed you in the gas chamber. And she literally gasped and she goes, I can never catch my breath around him. I said, that's why.
Oh, Diane. And
All right.
that's all. Like, there's a name for, like you said, it's remission. There's another name too. Like you're saying, when you're carrying that, like, because I have a friend of mine, and that's the whole thing. She's like, at any time she goes to certain places that have to do with the Holocaust, like for example, and she's Jewish too. Like anything, it just like she gets like an
She
anxiety.
probably had a life there. And, I'm not trying to say anything negative about another soul. She could have been the person putting people in the gas chamber,
Yes. Well, and I
not
think that's
in.
right. And I think that's the whole piece too. Is like we look at life in that way. Wow, what a difference, right? Like, what am I here for? You know? And then I think that's like going to the narcissist, right? I've had narcissists in my life. And so it makes sense to me now that I needed to get that lesson here in this lifetime so I can help people who have narcissists and people who don't even know they have narcissists in
Teaching,
their life.
learning,
Exactly.
teaching,
Right?
learning. It all comes down to that, and
Yes.
again, it could be one word. You could be at a bar having a glass of wine, turn to the person next to you, and they could just say one word to you, and you could have a revelation.
Yes. Well, just to go for you. So, for those of you who don't know my relationship with Diane, when I would meet you, I would see you like almost like once a year, every 2 years. And each time, and I think this is pretty remarkable too, it's like you wouldn't remember what had happened before. And you're like, if I did, that would not be healthy for me. And so each time I'm going, which I think is also really powerful and potent because you're not responsible for me. I'm responsible
No,
for me. And that is huge because I think that's another message that gets put out there sometimes is if whoever's in front of you, they're responsible for how. No, the tools are here for you. You get to choose which ones you want to pull up and how you want to look at it. And just like you said, are you
yes,
tuning in? Are you having the awareness of presence? The signs are there for you, the
you,
messages are there. The more you are able to be present with you,
yeah,
the real you, not the head
you,
you, the essence, the divinity of you, the more like this
growth,
lifetime. Yeah, say that again.
growth. But
Growth.
it's also that we are the captains of our ship. We
Mm,
can sink our ship, we can
mm,
keep it afloat, or we
mm.
can soar. It
Yeah.
all depends on what we want to do with it. And
Mm.
sometimes we hide behind certain emotions, shame, guilt,
Yes.
accountability.
Thank
All
you.
right. We
Yes.
hide behind those, and it's like shed them.
Yes.
They're useless. Worry is useless.
Yes.
It
Yes.
takes you away from where you're supposed to go. And it doesn't change anything. Worrying about anything. Your
Yes.
children, then you send worry to your children.
Yes.
Then God's going to go, she wants to worry. All right, let's give her something to worry
Free
about.
will. There's your
Yep,
free will, right?
right.
And you, one of the things you had said to me again, you know, like I said, he's like this, boop, 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 boop. One of
Yeah,
the many gems I've received from you was the idea of, okay, is this love or is this fear? Right?
right.
And so that's the idea. And I was like, well, I want to be here in love. Well, listen to your language. Listen to how you're like where you're going. Who are you hanging out with? Or is that in that space? So I say now to add on to a little, I'm like, is this situation nourishing or is it
Yes.
depleting? If it's
Well,
depleting,
there's only two emotions in life: love, fear.
yes,
Love, unconditional love, is from God the Father, the Creator. I hate to keep bringing it back to spirituality, but it
yes,
is. The other is from the devil, and this is the devil's domain. So if you're getting closer and closer and closer to God the Father, the devil's going to step in because he's going to knock you off your track. And what is he going to do? Every fear that you have, whether it's physical,
yes,
emotional,
yes,
spiritual, it
yes,
or intellectual, it's
yes.
going to. And the tracks, the first place something happens, a dis-ease, all right, is
Mm-hmm.
going to happen on the spiritual level,
Mm,
intellectual,
mm,
emotional,
mm,
physical. By the
mm,
time it hits your physical body, all right, it's gone through all the other chambers.
mm.
And
Okay.
I don't care what it is, anemia. I don't care what it is.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
gone through all the other chambers to hit the physical. And remember, we're not just walking bodies. We
Yes,
think, we feel, we have some
yes.
attachment to the big guy in the sky. And if anybody ever comes in and says they're an atheist, I
Mm.
always say to them, to make that statement, you had to believe to disbelieve.
Mm,
You
mm,
just don't
mm.
wake up saying this. You have to
Yes.
have a counterpart to it. All
Yes.
right. So
Yes.
it's kind of like each organ in your body not only has a physical function, it
Mm,
does. It
mm.
has that emotion,
Yeah.
intellect, and spiritual action. Example, the liver, a detox organ. The
Yes.
emotions that are attached to it are impatience, frustration, anger,
Mm, mm,
longing. All right. Your
mm.
lungs are grief. So
Yes.
anyone who's gone through
Yes.
tremendous amount of grief, they'll end up
Mm,
eventually, if they don't work on the core, you got to go to the
mm,
foundation, they end up with lung issues, heart, loss. So you got to go to the foundation where it was created. And to be completely honest, sometimes it's not in this particular lifetime. It could be
mm-hmm.
2 lifetimes back.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about an addict. All right.
Yes.
They could have a gambling in a past life.
Mm-hmm.
Then it comes into
Mm-hmm.
alcohol, it comes into
Mm-hmm.
drugs, it could
Mm-hmm.
go into hoarding. All right. But
Yes.
it could, the stem doesn't necessarily have to be here.
That's pretty powerful too, because I know that there was a time for myself. I'm like, why am I still stuck? Why am I still stuck? Why am I still stuck? And a friend of mine, so a Reiki practitioner, had major Reiki section. She did a cord cutting. And that was an energetic cord cutting, helped out in terms of bringing me to this place of like, oh my gosh, like this is not me, but I need to still sit and do the work here in this lifetime. And so I
Well,
think,
remember, the soul has memory of every past life. So if you get into this life and you start to dissect it with a patient, client, friend, all
yes.
right, they go back. You can pull it right back there, and then they could
Mm,
have a ha-ha moment. All right,
yes.
and in that ha-ha moment, that's looking in the mirror,
Yes.
have
And
being accountable for your life, as opposed to pushing it under the rug or under the covers, which never works.
well, two things on that. So when you say pushing it under the covers, it doesn't work. Okay, so that's shame, and I want to hold that over here for a second. But before that, my just to circle back a little bit, circle back. Let's go scaffold back. My kids make fun of me for saying scaffold back, but whatever. Okay, so they can have a laugh when they see this tonight. But the idea of when you're saying all of these different ways, and then it gets to the body. So it's first spiritual, and then what's the next one after spiritual? Did you say?
Usually intellectual. Remember, even a painter, before they walk up to do a painting, or a
Yes.
composer, if they're
Yeah.
writing a song, have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
What tempo, 4
Mm,
4, what
mm-hmm,
meter,
mm-hmm,
what
mm-hmm,
this?
mm-hmm.
A painter, is it going to be a landscape? Is it going to be a portraiture? What medium am I going to use?
Right.
Is it going to be acrylics, watercolor, whatever? All right.
Mm-hmm.
They have to think about it before they even go over to attempt it. How big is it going to be?
Right.
All right. So it's got to come through the intellectual, then it drops down into the emotional.
Then
Well,
the
what
emotional.
audience do I want to hit? Do I
Mm,
want to stir?
mm, mm, mm.
Am I putting a statement, or do I want
Yes.
it for pleasure? Then
Mm-hmm.
it goes into the physical. And remember, this is the
Amazing.
most important thing that people don't understand. Nothing in your body
Mm-hmm.
is solid matter, not even your bones.
Mm,
They
mm,
takes
mm,
minerals in, releases. If it's
mm,
solid, it takes nothing in. So if the bones are not solid matter, they are pliable.
mm.
People with scoliosis I work on, it straightens the spine out. This is really, people
Wow.
think the bones are solid, solid. They are
Yes.
not. They are not.
Wow. So, and this is, I think, so what is it? So I know you said lungs were grief, and I'm
Yes.
circling back this because this is the part that concerns me. Okay. Is that I'm a former teacher. So many teachers have issue with digesting things because there's so many things coming at us all the time. Same thing with nurses, I'm sure, social workers, on. There's other things. But a lot of people who are in that helping profession, right? A lot of people who are of service,
Service.
right? Service people, right? It's usually a lot of them, right? It's like, oh, my body, there's all these undiagnosed illnesses. I don't know why. And what I'm hearing from you and what I say is like the body is like intelligent. It's been telling you something, but you're not listening. So what you just said kind of it confirms that if your body is like off in some way, at that point, it's gone through all of these different systems and
But
the
there's
emotion.
another key point to that, Bernadette.
Okay.
It's like, I'm going to do it real simplistically.
Uh,
We take food into, you're taking liquid into your body. It's got
yes.
to go to the hydrochloric acid in the stomach. It gets broken down into little small particles.
Okay.
Then it's sent off to the small intestine.
Okay.
The small intestine is assimilation. You
Mm,
need vitamin C
mm,
here. That's what it does. You need vitamin D in your bones. You
mm,
need A in your eyes.
mm.
That's what the small intestine does. It's assimilation. It's not only assimilation with food, emotion, intellect,
That's it.
spirituality. And if
There we
you're
go.
not
Yes.
assimilating, how do
Mm,
you get rid of toxic material? So
yes.
what ends up happening, everything backs up. And your body is
Mm,
very intelligent. If,
yes.
let's say, you were eating non-organic food for a real
Mm-hmm.
long time, the
Mm-hmm.
body doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So anything it looks at that it doesn't know how to read because you're organic, it's going to say, hey, we've been throwing it to the liver, the liver, the liver. And
Mm,
then all of a sudden, what happens? The liver has a problem.
mm, mm,
It's over
mm.
toxic. All right.
Yes.
So it's a twofold assimilation. That is movement. That's being
Mm,
in the present so that you can see what's going on to move forward. A lot of people stay in marriages that don't
yes.
work. All
Yes.
right. And they're staying there for 10 years. And
Yes.
they come into me and they go, I know I have to leave. I don't want to leave because of my children. And then I'll turn around and say, well, what are you teaching your children? To
Yes.
stay in a bad marriage, to
Yes.
pick a bad partner. All
Yes.
right. And what ends up happening is they get sick because they're not moving forward. Okay.
Mm,
They could have problems in the limbs, movement. They could have
mm,
problems in the small intestine. They
mm,
could have problems in the large intestine.
mm.
The elimination, all right, getting rid of things that don't work.
So what would be, because the assimilation part, that's a whole bunch of different, the intellect, emotion,
Right.
physical. So what, so somebody's, they're like listening to this and they're just like, that's me. Oh my gosh, that's me. I'm having that, I'm hearing this and I want to assimilate. The word heard you use
And
was
my
present.
doctors are telling me that my body's not absorbing the nutrients.
Yes.
And I don't
So,
know why. And
right.
I guarantee it's on an emotional level.
Thank you. Well, and you said the two things I heard you was movement and presence, right?
Yes.
So, and it's interesting too because I feel like so many people, myself included, I was like this again. When I was an educator, we were living here. We're not living with what's down here because it's like, okay, new student. Oh, what do I do with it? Okay. Oh, wait, I have to do. Oh, change of lesson plans because there's a fire drill. There's a lockdown. And that we're on all the time. And I'm just thinking about my serving profession. But if it's all up here, and then after work, I have kids. I'm a single mom. I have to take care of my kids. Then I have to do lesson plans, and then I have to, and then I have to, and then I have to. Right. So I was there before. I see how, for me, it was unhealthy. Someone else, maybe it's fine for them. But for those people who are in that kind of position, what some like TLC would you offer them to start with, Diane, in terms of like, I'm a single mom. I have two kids. I did leave the
I'm going to throw
narcissist.
that right back at you, Bernadette.
Mm-hmm.
When you're sitting there worrying about your student, worrying about your kids, are you living in the moment? Or are you projecting it
There
into
we
the
go.
future? All
Right.
right. So
Exactly.
live in the moment. You're taking care of them in the moment. You're taking
Yes.
care of the student. You may not even have the student in your class because it's a new incoming. All right.
That's right.
So, and the other thing, more
Oh,
importantly, the past. Don't live in the past. If
yes.
you've done somebody wrong, kiss it up to God. Just say, please forgive me. Say it to yourself and move on. All right.
Yes.
Don't bring the guilt. Don't bring the
Yes.
anxiety. Don't bring, let it go. Believe me, I always say to my clients, will you be thinking about this in a year? Dollars to donuts.
Right.
No,
Right.
let it go. Is it really that important?
And I think this is the part where this is a good combination. Like I'm going like this as if you're like right next to me, Diane. I know you're
Yeah.
not. Meaning this, if you want somebody to give you the hard truth, talk to Diane. If you're not like, all right, well, I've talked to the, da, da, da. Okay, psh, I'm sending you there. Go see Diane, go see Diane, go see Diane. Okay. And wherever you're at, whenever I've gone to you, I've gotten exactly what I needed. Maybe not what I wanted, but exactly what I needed to hear.
That's
I'm
the
going
key.
like this. And so
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I want, no, no, it's not about you. I wanted to, no, stop, get out of your head. So that's something I appreciate about you too, because it's like the ego gets out, the spirit shows up.
Jump.
Okay. And,
Yeah,
right?
that's the key here, that you see the truth. And
Yes.
some people just don't want to see. Again, man in the mirror,
Yes.
woman in the mirror. And it happens time and time again. All right. And it's like, I do not sugarcoat. I tell people
No.
that all the time,
Yep.
but my delivery can be soft.
Right.
But it's
Yes.
direct.
No, but exactly. And I think this is the thing too. Even if I'm giving the finger to everybody, this is not the shame finger. This is the good finger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This finger. When you
Yeah.
see Diane, when I've seen you, when people who I've
That's the
brought to
heart
you,
finger.
this, see, I'm giving
Yeah.
you the finger, the heart finger, right? So when I give, when you go to Diane, it's like, again, even if in that moment you may not be able to grasp it or get it or whatever, it stays with you and it will show up when you are ready if you're not ready in that exact moment. And that's okay too. Because
a
time is,
lot of a lot of people tape it, but for the
yes,
people that do not tape it,
yes,
they remember what they're supposed to remember.
exactly. Exactly. That's
It makes an
trust.
impact.
Going back to faith and trust, that's it. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, I know I'm going to hear what I need to hear at the most important time. How to be someone in that space and that freedom is amazing. To go back to what you were saying before. So, and then you're like, oh, shoot, I have work to do. I need to let go of these skeletons in my past, but I don't know how to do that. Hello, that's where I come in. That's the work that I do. So if you're having struggle, like you want to, your head says, I know I need to let go. And that Diane told me, and she even got granular and specific with me, but I need a tool. I need those tools. That's the work I do. That's, we call it, I'm a certified grief recovery method specialist. I've also called it ripples to emotional recovery because
Yeah.
what it does, it makes these shifts. Going back to shame, remember I said put a pin in shame. Shame is secrecy and silence, right?
Oh yeah.
If we were sharing information and then sharing our feelings about something, especially as a child, even as an adult, and people like give us the stink eye, or they're like, what are you talking about? And we're getting criticized or demonized or judged for sharing our emotional truth. Where does that go? It gets shoved down under the covers, as you say, or
Yeah.
displaced. So I call you become either a stuffer or an exploder. And
Yeah.
if you, and for me, I grew up, I didn't even know what to do with anger. I never gave myself permission to be angry because no, I was not supposed to do that. Even though that's fear, I didn't know that. I just know anger is bad. I'm bad if I am angry. And if you're a good girl, all those unpleasant, uncomfortable, notice I didn't say bad or negative
Yeah.
feelings,
Yeah.
right? Unpleasant, uncomfortable feelings,
Unsettled.
un- any of those feelings, then you're not a good girl. You are not nice. Okay. And then you're getting pushed out of
And you should
the
be
community.
punished.
And you, exactly. Okay. So what happens in school? Again, former teacher, if you are disruptive, AKA you're showing these unpleasant, uncomfortable feelings, what do? Go to the principal's office. Get out of my classroom. Stay after, right? If you're a child, what do we
So
tell
you're
you to
reinforcing it.
do? Correct. And it goes down, down, down. And that is addictions, self-harm, any of those types of unhealthy behaviors because it didn't have a place to go. Mine was relationships. I had a lot of relationships, and that's where I put, because where do I go? Going back to you as a child, Diane, it was like, here you're experiencing some really intense feelings and emotions. For myself, I went to Catholic school, and I didn't even know what Catholic, I knew what school was. All I
Yeah.
knew was to sit with my hands folded, and I was scared that I was going to do the
Listen.
wrong thing, right?
All you do is listen. Don't
Exactly.
talk. Don't
Don't
do.
talk. And that, what you just said there, don't talk, right? Don't talk. And that is why so many women too have thyroid issues and throat issues, right? That's
Yes.
the voice. I was literally, my doctor said to me he could not believe, he was like, in the practice for like 40 years or something, an older person who's like, I've never seen a child have so many strep throats in her little
Yeah.
lifetime. Okay. So again, the
Or you
body,
can go into autoimmune. A lot of people getting mono, a lot of people getting
yes.
sick. That's the autoimmune because they're trying to hold their defenses up and they're collapsing.
So the TLC I'm hearing from you is look in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
And when you look in the mirror, by the way, how many of you out there that are listening, can you look at yourself in the mirror? What happens if you just look at yourself in the mirror, right? Are you
And you're
able,
truthful with yourself.
not putting
All
on
right.
makeup, just looking
Look in the
in the
mirror.
mirror and see what feelings come up. And if those feelings are uncomfortable, if they're unpleasant, that's okay. Then we go to the practice of being present. And there's
Yeah.
many tools for that that Diane and we offer, but taking that
And
first
and
step.
others that
Yes,
others can
so
help
many
you
other people.
through.
There's so many people that are ready to right to help with this, but you have to be ready to do this. And it may be so scary. I know for myself when I said to my dad I'm getting a divorce, I didn't say Diane told me to because you didn't, right? But he was you can't get a divorce because you're Catholic. I knew in that moment I had to make a choice. Okay, I love my dad, I love my mom, right?
Mhm.
And I'm also allowed to have my feelings and emotions. I was disappointed, I was scared, I was confused, I was disheartened, and I felt alone. However, I knew that if I was to stay in that relationship, in that marriage, I wouldn't be here today doing this. My
You
kids,
death.
I definitely, absolutely would.
I don't
So
care if you're the Walking Dead.
right.
Death.
But that exactly because I was already walking dead. And I said to my dad, I said, look, I love you. I said, but the God that I know in my bones, in my being, would not want me to stay in this.
God
Look
doesn't
at me.
judge, we judge. God
That's
does
right.
not judge.
Thank you. Thank you. And so when I made that decision, it was me. You say no to one thing, you say yes to another, you say yes to one, you say no. I said yes to me and my children, and no to my family of origin and my Catholicism up until that point.
Do you
Because,
know how strong you have to be in order to do that? To be
thank you.
able to say, I've got to do what is right for me, even though you're saying, I had a woman come to me and she also had a divorce. All right. And her father was passing, and he said, I'm going to go to heaven, but you'll never be in heaven with me because you had a divorce.
Right.
And I looked at her, and he was somewhat of a spiritual guy,
Yeah.
religious guy.
Yeah.
All right. And I said, I don't know what God he's talking to, because God the
Right.
Father he never judges. He's
Yes.
unconditional love, which does not
Unconditional love.
judge.
Thank you.
All right. There's
Yes.
a very big, and I kind of got her to really look at it. I said, read scripture, read whatever, because she was
Yeah.
Catholic.
Sure.
And she goes, I'll never see my father again when he passes. I said, that's not true.
Right. Oh, okay. So tell me
And
more.
I directed her, and I
Hmm.
said, also go to your clergy, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
go to your priest, go to whoever
Yes.
whatever mass you go to, and have a conversation, because God doesn't judge, even though
Yeah.
I was told I'd burn in hell for wasting a piece of paper.
Right. I was going to tell you more
Catholic
about.
school.
Yes. Well, and just to kind of circle around back to you, we said what that really takes a lot of strength to do that.
Oh
That's your
yeah.
all of that's your fault, by the way, in the best way, because that was the beginning of break the chain.
Right.
Because my grandfather came through my father's father, who is super Catholic as well. And in that moment, if that patriarch of the family was giving me permission through you to say, oh,
Break the chain.
no, break the chain, I'm like, Dad, I love you. But I not only that guy, I got my pop, who I would get angry about and how he treated my grandmother. And so here I am. And they started the church. I mean, this is all, like you're saying, this is all church,
Yeah.
Catholic church and everything. And so I feel like, just like you're saying, it does take a lot of strength. And you don't have, it's not going to happen all at once. Here I am 20 years later, but I would never, ever not allow all these things to happen because if not, I would not be here right now.
Remember, we choose everything in our life, for the good or the bad of
Yes.
it, the long or the short of it. We choose our parents, we choose our brothers, sisters, for the
Yeah.
good or the bad of it. We
Yes.
choose them. Why? I go back. learning, teaching.
Yes.
We're learning
Yes.
from even our
Yes.
enemies. We are
Yes.
learning tremendous amount of information from them, what we
Absolutely.
want or don't want. And for people that are viewing this
Mm.
or listening to this, even if you had a really bad mommy or daddy, you chose them because they can be your biggest teachers. Why? You're being raised with them. I will never do this to my kids. There we go.
There we go. And the never and the always. Black and
Yep.
white thinking, black and white thinking, black and
Yeah.
white thinking. So it's like start first with, just like you said, looking in the mirror, take that step of taking, I call the shame shield off, right?
Yep.
There's people out there that you're not alone. I wasn't alone when I had Diane, right? I knew, okay,
Yeah.
at least there's one person in this world who is in alignment with me, even though I lost, and I had
Yep.
estrangement in my family too. Lost my brothers and sisters for a while, my mother and father, the Catholic Church, so many things. But you are never alone unless you
Oh,
want to be alone. There's people out there waiting for you, and those are the ones that also helped me to keep going. So,
and just remember, just even anyone that's starting to look in the mirror or starting to listen to this, remember that God will always pop someone in your way that will also uplift you. And again, it could just be one word, you know?
absolutely.
It could be a TV show. All of a sudden, you just turn on the TV and an announcer says something. You go, that resonates with me. Oh my God, you know? This
Yes,
person's going through that. Oh my goodness. I'm not the only one. I'm
not the
not
only
singled
one.
out
No.
for even people that are out of jobs. All right.
Yes.
Job will come. This is
Yes.
not for permanent. It
Yes.
is
Everything's
temporary.
temporary.
Yeah.
Yes, everything's temporary, and just like your feelings and emotions. Unconditional love definition for me is when starting with yourself, giving yourself unconditional love, which it means not judging, not criticizing, and not demonizing any of your feelings or emotions. Instead, giving yourself permission to have a witness, someone who's a safe person, someone who's a welcoming witness to be there and not to fix you, not to solve your problem, but just to allow you to name the feeling
Yep.
without being judged by for it. And then
Yeah.
once you name it, temporary, going to temporary, guess what? It flows by and it makes
I.
space for another one. So that
Yeah.
unconditional love is loving all of yourself. It's like, well, why can't he? Why? Stop it.
Yep.
Stop it.
No
It has to start
comparisons.
with you. If you
Yeah.
don't do it for you, no, you're saying to the world, okay, this is what it's supposed to be. You have to do it for you first, and then you can do it for others, and then watch micro shifts happen, and your
Yep.
life will change in ways you could never even imagine.
Well, sometimes it's like an onion.
Mm,
Think of your cell like an onion.
mm.
Sometimes you're taking a layer off, very thin layer, and then you could take a big chunk off. All right.
Yes.
That's getting to the core
Yeah.
of the nucleus of who you are. So
Mm.
it's not going to happen like that.
Yes.
But it's going to come in stages. And some
Yes.
stages you could be running up that ladder. Some stages you could be one step.
Yes.
But it's going to happen. If
Yes.
you open the door, it will happen. If you ask, you will receive.
But you have to ask. That's
Everything.
the other thing too. Just like what you're saying, so many, and I'm talking to people who again are like the oldest, or like the only daughters, the first generation Americans. It can be anybody, but I'm specifically talking to this population just for a second, where you think you're supposed to do all the giving, all the time. Guess what? Part of trust is the asking. You need to be doing the asking for help. If not, you'll be like me and many other people. You get depleted, and your body's like, what is happening here?
All right, let's look at a bank account. All
Mm-hmm.
right. You have a bank account, you have money in your bank account. If
Yeah.
you keep writing checks out and don't give anything back, you're eventually going to come to the big zero. All
Yes,
right.
exactly.
So just remember that you got to give and receive.
Yes.
All right. Without that giving and receiving, you're going to end up with the big zero.
Yes. Yes. And then there's nothing left to give anyone, including
No,
yourself, and starting with
self.
yourself. So going back to the present part is just to say this. if you don't know how to be present, like you don't know, you're like, I need a list on how to do that. How, what step one,
Well,
step
it's not
two?
only here, it's also here.
Right. Well, that's it.
Emotion.
It's
Yeah.
it's the emotion, and it was just so what I do is the word spirituality. This is what I also adopted. Comes from the Latin word spirare, which means to breathe. So if we're breathing, our
Yeah.
heart's open, right? If we're slowing our breathing down, that's presence. We're reconnecting with the rest of our body. But if we're talking like this all the time and we're on the go, da 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 da, my shoulders are up, I'm trying to protect my heart. So even just starting with that awareness and taking time, I know we have a thing at 3 o'clock you and I talked about, and that's like a special time for us. So now I do 3:33. Breathe with me. So if anybody wants to breathe with me and start that practice, come see me on such.
Breath is really important.
Yes.
When we inhale, we're taking healing energy in. Prana, if you want to call it that,
Mm,
you
mm,
take it in. All right. When you hold the breath, is when the healing happens. When you
mm,
exhale, you're
mm,
getting rid of toxic material
mm-hmm,
physically, emotionally,
mm.
intellectually, spiritually. Breath is really important and a great breathing exercise. You inhale for 7 counts, hold on for 14, then exhale for 7. I guarantee you, when you first started, when you're exhaling, it's going to be the air
Yeah.
is going to float because of whole. Once it becomes habit, all
Yes.
right, a good habit. Once it becomes
Yes.
habit, you could just go into it. It'll calm your system right down to here.
Absolutely.
Just the first couple of breaths because it becomes a habit,
Yes.
like
And
walking, like
yes.
sleeping.
It's natural. You make it a
Yeah,
part of your day. And I think the point is anybody's like, well, I don't know how to meditate. Stop.
yeah,
Stop. Meditation is just awareness. It's the
yeah.
awareness. And again, it starts with you and how you're interacting. Be like a, what do they call those drones like that? Or imagine you're looking at yourself and how you're interacting during your day and observe. Start with being like curious about your body, how it's, is it open or is it closed? This is signals. It's signals. But the breath is where it all starts.
Whoa.
And so that's my
First thing you
spiritual.
do when you come into this world is take an inhale. The last thing you do in this world is an exhale. Everything is a succession of inhales and exhales. When we're panicky, we pant. When we're
Yes.
scared, we hold our breath. When
Yes.
everything is fine, the breath just goes in and out. We don't even think about it. It
Yes.
just automatic pilot.
This.
That's how important. You can live a while without food. You can live a while without water. I
Mhm.
can't go out of my office without oxygen. I would fall down. That's how important that air is to your system.
I'm yes. I'm just so blown away by that because I knew that, but now to like to viscerally feel that is such truth. So I hope that at minimum people will be breathing. Do
Well,
you have?
it's also that if, let's just say, you have kidney problems or heart
Mhm.
problems, when you're inhaling, think of that energy, that air going right to that organ.
Yeah.
Watch how it starts to repair. I mean, really think about that. I'm bringing that healing energy right there, holding the breath. Think of the lungs, whatever. The heart, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. And I have to say this because you kind of remarked on this. Um, and I work on a lot of people. I've been doing this, I don't know, 40 years. I'm
Mm,
old, people. All right. I've been doing this about 40 years. But I got to tell you, I've worked on some people and I've said, "Oh my God, they're about my same age." And then they'll turn around and say they have 2 and 3 year olds. They have aged
yeah.
themselves so
Yes.
badly.
Yes.
All right. And
Yes.
then I could be working on 60 year olds. All right. And I'm looking at them and saying, oh, wow, they look really great. Cell to cell communication. They got it together. All
Yeah.
right. And stuff like that. And they look like they're 50. That's big. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at your friend group. Look,
Yes.
go out.
Yeah.
You don't walk around asking people their age. They're
Mhm.
age sensitive. But just be aware that people that really take care of themselves, they don't age as
Yes.
fast as other people. Why? Cell to cell communication.
Mm.
Even when I'm working on a body, I
Mm.
could
Mm.
touch them and I'm going, I got you at cell 1, but cell 1's talking to 7. You
Mm,
keep letting
mm-hmm.
that go, all of a sudden, paralysis, broken bones, whatever. All right. So you want to keep everything moving. Air, prana is very important for that.
Presence, movement, so like movement of feelings, physical movement, breath movement, and then I'm hearing also thought movement, like
Oh, God,
thoughts
yeah.
that are like not serving you, which a lot of us have. And again, that's part of the work I do if you're stuck on it. It's like I would have a voice in my head that would be this judge. And I'm like, where did this come from? It doesn't matter, but it's
Yep.
there. Okay. And to meditation helped, journaling helped, gratitude helped. But again, having a witness to that without judging yourself for feeling how you're feeling
We
is
all need
the
people,
practice.
dear.
Exactly.
We're not meant to live isolation.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And remember, I say this to a lot of people, laws of attraction. All right.
Yeah.
If you're going through a detox period, let's say you're going
Mm.
through a juicing or bereavement, all right, you're grieving someone.
Yeah.
It's not the best time to meet somebody because you're going
Right.
to attract somebody, no,
Yes.
that has that laws of attraction, that
Yes.
have grief, that have
Been there,
loss.
done that one too.
All right. So you got to step back, go
Yeah.
through your healing, all right,
Yeah.
and then get out there because then you attract someone on that wavelength.
Yes.
All right, as
Yes.
opposed to somebody that and we all go through the ups and downs in life.
Yes. It's
Air,
life. Yeah.
inhale, exhale. We're all
Right.
going to go through that in life. All right. It's
Yes.
like, but it's always protect thyself too.
Yes.
Boundaries are really good too. You
Yes.
have to have them, because there are, I call them zappers that'll come
Yes.
in and they want you A for your money. They want you for
Yes.
emotional support.
Yes.
They want you for this. And some good people will sit there and then it becomes codependency.
Yes. And that's where, again, been there, done there with that one. That's where you were taught that you don't matter. Like you're mattering. You do matter. But if you've been told, oh, don't make mommy and daddy sad, don't make them
Well, if
mad,
you don't
it's about
value
everybody.
self,
Right.
who's going to value you?
And that's why it
They're
has to
sending it
start with
out
you.
there.
Right.
Telegraph. I don't value
Exactly.
me. I am a piece of
Right.
shit. So you can shit all over me. All
Exactly.
right.
So I was just going to say to you, is there any other thing like for the TL? We got raw and real all over the
Oh,
place
yeah.
here.
Well, that's good.
Yes,
I enjoyed it.
this
I
has been
hope it,
so
I hope
great.
it touches, even if it touches one person.
Absolutely, that's what I always say. It's one is the person who it's supposed to be, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be just one. But do you have any last, like a message that you want to have everybody to know, or is there any other TLC that you would want people to know if they're going through anything that we've touched upon?
The key I always say to people, and I keep it really, really, really simple, is
Hmm.
what I've said in this. You are the captain of your ship.
Yeah.
You can sink it, you can keep
Mhm.
it afloat, or you can soar. And if you're in a fog and you don't know a direction to go to somebody that can help you,
Yes.
all right, can guide you and
Yeah.
say, these are your tools.
Yes. Yes.
Another thing I always say to my clients, and they come in and they're in a little despair. I said, what would you like to do barring any education? And they're stunned. I said, put education over here.
Yeah.
All right. Where would your heart want to be?
Yeah.
All right. And when they say it, it's really obtainable. They
Yes.
just don't see it as being obtainable until you say, well, that's really easy. This is how you would accomplish it. It wouldn't take you 10 years. It may take you a week.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I didn't look at it that way because I'm coming with a different vision. I'm
Yes.
coming from a different point
Yes.
of perspective. And
Yes.
that's the beauty of people as opposed to everybody fighting.
Yes.
People can have a open hand. People want to help one another. Not
Yes.
everybody wants to be disagreeable. It's
Yes.
just finding that community, the right community
Yes.
that works with you.
And so that on that note, my TLC is this. Thank you for that. To
Mhm.
add on to it is Most of us are familiar with the familiar. The familiar is our family of origin. And if
Easy.
you're stuck because that is what you know. It's comfortable. You may not like it, but it's comfortable. So you need to find people, like Diane is saying, that are not like your family of origin so that we can shine that light for you. And it may be a little scary or daunting at first, but we're here. We're not, that's the point of Diane. We're guys, and there's so many people out there
It's
that,
like looking at a rainbow and all
yeah,
you see is the color blue.
yes,
Look at the entire rainbow, the
yes,
frequency. In
yes,
blue, there's green blue, yellow blue, purple blue. I mean, open your peripheral up. There's so much more going on out
yes.
here than right in front of your nose. And I say this with an open heart. I came into this world with horrible vision. All right,
Mm,
horrible.
okay.
And, I put my glasses on. Of course, everything comes sweet. I can
Right.
see. All right. But when I'm in my office, I never put my glasses on.
Oh, it's so
Why?
fascinating.
Because there's so much more I can see out here as
Wow.
opposed to looking at the pinpoint.
That is beautiful. And I think we're going to like end it on that because like just like you said, there's more. Do not get
There's
stuck
so much
in
more
this.
that, yeah, no
There's so much.
tunnel vision and
No.
nothing. Don't do that because
Yes.
that'll really narrow where you can go and what you can do. And believe me, a lot of people are unaware. There's a lot more that an individual can do that they don't even know they can do.
Yes. And so just go and get that perspective.
Yes.
You are
Yeah.
worthy and deserving of having all these possibilities and perspectives. You
And
are,
we're not blowing smoke up your
no,
butt. It's true.
it's true.
And you
Yes.
gotta have humor.
Yes, you have to have humor and give yourself that permission slip. That's what I want to end
Yes,
on. Give yourself that permission slip. No one's going to do it for you. You
for you.
you are allowed to do it for yourself.
Captain.
Yes, Captain. Thank you, Captain, my Captain. Diane, this has been great. I'm so
Yes.
grateful. And I'm going to put all of Diane's information in under the post. You'll find it. And you can reach out to me too if you have any other questions. And I will send more information about Diane your way. And Diane, is there any other information, like events or anything that you're going to do? I'm also going to put that in there as well. Any of that
Okay.
stuff?
I have
Good.
to think about it. I don't have my calendar. I never walk around with a
That's
calendar.
okay. So thank you. So remember, Captain, my Captain, and remember that you matter. Take good
Yes.
care. And thank you for being on Raw and Real with TLC with Diane and myself, Bernadette Lusama Knoll of the Lusama Connection. TLC for you. Take good care. Bye. One sec, Di.